Hello and welcome to the Fishing Guide Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Wiegmann. We're at Redcrest, and I have found all kinds of people to visit with, but one product that I've been using a little bit and been dabbing in is Z-Man, because they happen to have they actually have a topwater lure that's awesome. We'll get to that, but Whit, tell them who you are, who you're with, and what do you do there?
I'm Whit Edmonds. I'm with Z-Man Fishing Products. I handle customer service as well as a few other things related to sales and marketing at Z-Man.
Yep. And so you brought over all kinds of good stuff to show us, but before you get to the good stuff, you don't have one here, but tell them about this topwater. Now, I know it came out at, did it come out at ICAST last year?
Yep, we released it at ICAST last year, and that's our new Hellraiser topwater bait. It's the thing that's so unique about this compared to other topwater baits is this bait actually walks itself. So rather than you having to twitch your rod the whole time, it has a blade on the back that catches the water. So all you have to do is reel it in super slow, super fast, and it walks itself the whole way back to the boat.
Yeah, phenomenal bites. You have a video on Z-Man page with strikes, don't you?
Yeah,
those fish attacking it.
Yep. They shot a video down in Florida. I guess it was last summer, and got a whole bunch of strikes all on camera. It ended up being a great video. Yeah,
it is. So you will have to check that out. But let's talk about some of the stuff that you brought here. You do have a new line of some smaller baits that you have.
Yep.
Tell us about that.
So this is these are kind of all my favorites from our releases last year. This one is our new micro finesse category. It's a category we've done tons and tons of finesse baits, but we've yet to hit that truly micro finesse category. So this is obviously a big hit for the panfish, but the thing that we've really noticed after releasing it is it's not just panfish. We're seeing lots of success in the bass world with this, and even success down in Florida with exotics, and even in saltwater with redfish and trout when they get on those small glass minnows, taking real small swim baits like our shad fries. And it's just one of those things. All the different types of game fish people love to fish for, some point in the year their metabolism slows down or they get real pressured and they start eating tiny bait. So we have all kinds of options.
Tell us the 6 options they have on these.
Yep. So we have a bunch of options. We have our shad fries, just a real natural baby shad style swim bait. Just a bait fish imitation. On the other front of the bait fish imitation, we have our stingers. That's a great little vertical jigging bait, or you can kind of cast it, reel it in while twitching it. It's got a real small straight tail on it. It does not take much at all to get that tail to really move. Then we also have our larvas. It's just like it sounds. It looks like just some kind of little larva in the water, just a nice, easy meal. I mean, fish don't really have to think about this. I mean, it's not intimidating. They just see it in the water, and there's no harm in it if they try and eat it. Then we also took 2 of everybody's favorite baits, super popular Ned rig baits, our TRD and ticklers, and we created the micro TRD and tiny ticklers. So now we have all sizes of Ned rigs, all different baits, but now we have a super tiny Ned rig bait. So if those fish get so finicky,
that's pretty finicky, man.
But yeah, it's just like those. I mean, these are great for panfish, but I mean, you catch a bunch of bass on these things too. Big bass too.
Show us what else you got. You got something that you brought out at ICAST, last year. What was that?
Yep. So we got a few things from ICAST, and that is on the finicky fish front. We also have from ICAST our Midwest Finesse swim jig. It's kind of like a micro swim jig. You can fish it on real light fluorocarbon. The person who actually designed this fishes it on 6-pound test.
Wow.
But it's not so small you can't fish it on, say, 12 or 10. And the cool
what size hook it has on that?
I believe that it should say
I'm always asking those questions. You're like,
yeah, it's a 3/0 hook on
here. 3/0 hook. So you
Um,
still can land good fish on this,
yeah,
like big
no
fish
problem
on it,
at
even
all.
though it says it's micro.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this, besides its very small size, it's much smaller than a regular swim jig. It's only about 3 inches long. But what a lot of people don't think about when they get into fall or late summer, those fish start eating that small bait.
Right.
They throw small baits, and that's great to represent the hatch, but what they don't think about is when that bass actually picks up their bait.
Right.
The bass thinks about how heavy it is. So if you're throwing a small bait, but it's that regular size bait, you're still throwing like 1/2 ounce, 3/8 ounce baits.
Right.
When that bass initially makes its first strike, he feels it, and it's weighted like a big shad, so he's going to drop it. Whereas this, we have it in a 5/32 ounce, 3/16, and 1/4 ounce. So much lighter, feels a lot more natural when they finally pick it up, and you're going to get a lot more hookups that way as well. But anytime they're on that small bait or just super finicky, getting really pounded, you can go in with this nice finesse swim jig, and you can get a lot of fish that other guys can't.
There you go. I see there's some more on the table to bring over.
Oh, yeah.
Show us some goodies.
So another one of my favorites was this one I especially love. This is one we released last March. It was designed by one of our pros, Brian Latimer.
Right.
And it's our SMH jig head and SMH worms. And basically we designed them to go together to make a shaky head. And what I love so much about this one in particular is rather than having to make the head so the head stands up, our Elastec floats naturally. So the Elastec pulls the head up, and it stands up straight on its own. And the really cool thing about that with a shaky head is that's allowed us to design a head that'll actually come through cover a little bit better. So as you're dragging it through little rocks or even a brush pile, the head's not going to get snagged because we've got it a nice kind of pointed shape on that head, and it comes through cover very, very well, and it still stands up straight every time because that bait is buoyant.
Right. I see there's more.
Yep.
There's more.
And finally, everybody loves the jackhammer, and I'm no different. I love it too. So at ICAST this year, we brought out 4 brand new colors of the jackhammer.
Right.
And we released it in a 3/8 and a 1/2 ounce, 2 very popular sizes. That's our dirty white color. This is great for dirty, stained water, just a real bright, like matte white color with a gold blade. And anytime you're in stained water, or like down where we are in Charleston, we have a lot of black water on those tidal fisheries, and that gold blade is key in that stained black water. Then we also brought out our Ghost Baby Bluegill, just a super natural forage color. It's an amazing bluegill color, but even like shiners and other types of bait fish they might be feeding on, it represents quite a wide array of forage they might eat. And then we also released a blueback herring color, and I mean, being somebody from South Carolina that fishes a lot of blueback herring lakes, Frank Murray, Clark's Hill, Hartwell, I can tell you this. I mean, this looks a lot like a blueback herring.
That was the deal, wasn't it?
It totally can look like a lot of other bait fish too. Lots of types of shad. Just another super natural, really pretty color jackhammer. And then finally, Fire Crawl's been a huge success, so we wanted to offer some more options of Fire Crawl for people to try. So in the past, we've had Fire Crawl with a black blade. We still offer the black blade, but on top of that, we also offer Fire Crawl with an orange blade now, just to give people an extra option.
All right. So let's talk about chatterbaits. And of course, Z-Man's the original chatterbait. Tell us, how many different models of chatterbaits do you have?
There's quite a few. It's like, I mean, I don't think it's any secret that we love making chatterbaits at Z-Man. You know, we were the ones, we played a big part in founding the very first blade, as they call them now, bladed jigs. Ours is the chatterbait. That's the original one. And we really brought those to market with the help of Ron Davis, who invented them. And we've really tried our best to make chatterbaits for every situation. So, of course, I brought out the jackhammers because those are the tried and true, just work everywhere. They work all over the country and really all over the world, and all season long. It's just that chatterbait that just catches them everywhere. But it's not just that. We offer a ton. We recently released our big blade chatterbait designed by Brian Thrift. That's as it sounds, just a big blade. The blade's about that big, a much bigger skirt and hook. It's an amazing chatterbait for, say, early pre-spawn dirty water. And we've also got several mini chatterbaits as well when they're on real small forage, like our.
What is the name of the small chatterbait? What's the name of the smaller one?
So we've got a few. The one we recently released is our Mini Max. We basically wanted to make a really strong, durable, just tournament-grade small chatterbait. So we made our Mini Max. On top of that, we also have a Chatterbait Mini, Chatterbait Micro, and a Flashback Mini as far as your small chatterbait options go.
Kind of thinking about Beaver Lake, Highland Reservoir, Clearwater. People are throwing those smaller ones. Very popular there, I take it.
Anywhere you have a good population of spotted bass or clear water, all those scenarios are where those smaller chatterbaits really shine.
All right. So I'm not going to let you go because we got to talk about Elastic Tech. Now, Corey just sent me some tackle boxes. So tackle boxes put my stuff in. Tell them why you have a whole line of tackle boxes and why you made those and talk about Elastic.
Yeah, so we use our very own type of plastic called Elastec. And traditionally, most bait companies use a chemical called plastisol to make their lures. There's a lot of disadvantages to plastisol, one being that it breaks easily, and anyone that's fished obviously knows that, and the other reason being that it sinks. So like I was saying with the Shaky head, you don't need to have a special head to get that to stand up, so we were able to use the head to do other cool things, whereas this bait makes it stand up itself. But the thing everyone loves about Elastec is it is very difficult to break. I mean,
he's stretching it you can't see it on the radio, but he's got that thing stretched across the table here.
I mean, I'm trying to break this, and it's not breaking. I mean, of course, they can break, but I mean,
that's
you
pretty
catch
hard.
A lot of fish on it before that happens.
I don't know how many fish can pull a lure 3 foot and not get caught.
I mean, we see it all the time. People are catching over 100 fish on one bait, which always amazes me that they're able to keep it, to not get it hung up before it happens. But but I mean, it's very possible with this. It's a super.
So you want to be careful
bait.
to separate them, right? You touched on that.
So there's those really great advantages, but one thing you want to keep in mind, and we do put a little warning label on the back as well. We always recommend keeping them stored in their original package. One reason being simply that we have trays in our original packages to hold their shape. The other being that they can have some deformities because there are harsh chemicals in other baits, and that may and even tackle boxes that might react with ours. And we try to remind people to store them separately, and we offer a bunch of really great options for that as well. So we have our lockers, our binders double wide, our bait blocks. Some of those are just large bags with dividers that people can just kind of stick their bags in directly. And then our binders series, like our bait binders and our bait binders double wide, actually have rings. So if you look at a lot of our packages, they have little holes in there, so you can, just like a binder, like you'd have
like a binder in school, you flip them over and you can put all your baits in there, right?
But just because of that little reaction is what it is. But we try to remind people of that. But as long as you keep them stored in their original package, you won't have any problems, and you'll be able to take these things out and catch a ton of fish on them before they wear out.
That binder's the real deal there. I know I have there's 2 sizes, right? of them, and so I don't know how many you can put in them, but it's a great way of storing your stuff. So want to make sure we touched on that. So
yep.
Because people are always wondering, can I just throw these in with my other plastics?
Yeah, we get that a lot, and so we're always happy to let people know about that, because we want them. We want them to have the best success, and we want them to save as much money as they can when they buy a pack from us, which if you keep them in their original package, you can make this package go a long, long, long ways.
Okay, biggest fish you've ever caught on a chatterbait?
On a chatterbait?
Biggest fish, chatterbait.
On a chatterbait?
Yeah.
I caught a few over 7.
Where'd you catch them at? Were you in grass or were you...
Grass, yeah. So down in Charleston, we've got a river called the Cooper River. It's a tidal fishery, and other than the main river channel, it's nothing but hydrilla. I mean, you'll have these they're old rice fields in there, and you can go up into them. They're essentially part of the river. People fish all through them, but these rice fields are acres upon acres. I mean, some of them are probably 50-acre rice fields.
Wow.
But the whole entire field is just a hydrilla flat. It's pretty amazing, but I mean, we'll go out there and throw the jackhammer and quite a few other chatterbaits around, and they work wonders when we're fishing that hydrilla.
Is that public water?
Yep.
Okay.
Anyone can go out
and tell them what ramp. If they wanted to fish that, what ramp would they go to put in?
Yep. So there's 3 main ramps out there. And they're located great, so you can fish all 3 of the kind of famous areas. At the top end, you have what they call the canal.
Okay.
And that's basically the outtake from Lake Moultrie. A lot of people can go up there, catch some schooling fish. That ramp's called William C. Dennis.
Okay.
And as you come down farther into what they call Pimlico, there's a ramp right near there called Cypress Gardens. Okay. That's the most popular ramp if they wanted to fish out there.
All right.
And then as you go a little bit farther, because this is a tidal river, you can fish what they call the saltwater side, and you can put in at Bushy Park there. Now, I call it the saltwater side, but Bushy is actually the freshwater dividing line. So out there, you can catch a ton of bass still, but with those bass, you can just as easily catch a redfish or a sea trout. So it's pretty crazy right there, because you'll get a bite on your line and you really don't know what kind of fish you have.
Right. Well, that's great. You know what? That takes us over to Tackle Time. Tackle Time sponsored by PICO Lures. PICO Lures has a complete line of hard and soft baits. So I always tell people, you're looking for a crankbait, you're probably definitely looking for a PICO, but they do have different sizes and a lot of different heads that you can check out there. You see those at PICOLures.com. Whit, if they wanted to find out more about Z-Man or where they could get them, where would they go?
Yep. We are always open to talk to customers who want to learn more. You can find our number and our customer service email right there on the website, and we will get back to you in a very short time and answer any questions you need directly. We also have our products in a variety of dealers. Most online and retail locations have our products. And if there's ever anything you can't find at your local dealers, we also open up our website so you can buy any one of our products we make directly from us as well. So
website address?
Yep. It's zmanfishing.com.
Gosh, I could have guessed that.
Yep.
Hey, that's all good stuff right there. Make sure you check out what they have. And it's awesome, that chatterbait. I have to tell a quick story. So I was fishing Co-Angler FLW way back when, early 2000s, and we run into Dudley, and David Dudley's throwing this bait, and he's catching tons of bass, like he's just catching them. And so he gives my buddy, Bobby Curtis, gives him one, and Bobby's catching the crap out of him. Bobby, it would have been Dudley first, and Bobby would have come in second place, but Bobby could not stop. It was like crack. It was like an addiction because he was catching them so good. And finally, a guard came up and broke his line, so he didn't have it. I don't know how well Dudley did in that tournament. Probably won it on a chatterbait, but that was one of the first times I'd ever seen it. But good stuff right there. Hey, make sure you keep your hook sharp and your lures in the water.